Original Butcher.
Attention, you need to hear this. Industrial Tool and Supply is hosting a month-long clearance sale on dead stock and slow movers. Stop by today and save up to 60% and more on top quality tools and equipment that need to be cleared out. It's like the ultimate garage or estate sale for all your industrial needs. Don't miss out. Head to Industrial Tool and Supply in Logan today and grab the best deals now before they're gone. Industrial Tool and Supply, Logan.
Hi, this is Terrence Howard. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cancer killer, but you can prevent this disease. If you're 50 or older, get screened. Please, do everything that you can to stay around for yourself and for your family. Screening saves lives.
A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The wireless industry and this radio station remind you, with wireless, safety is your call.
With your host, Mark Anderson, from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show as we, I guess we could say we're winding down summer. And as we look ahead to the next couple of days, we've got a little rain in the forecast, which will be nice.
Nice.
Yeah, we could use it.
Really nice.
I know my yard is still not quite as green as I'd like it to be. And I haven't really wanted to, bump up the sprinklers. And it's like, I'll just kind of deal with it right now.
Yep.
So
we've kept our sprinklers the same this year, even with the higher temperatures. And using the Hydratane, my lawn has looked the best it's ever looked. Yeah. So usually I don't do Hydratane over my whole lawn. I usually do just like the trouble spots.
Yeah.
This year we decided to do the whole thing, and we did my parents' house next door, and the lawn looks the best it's ever looked. Yeah. Looks amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Without bumping up our sprinklers at all.
Yeah. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Well, we welcome you to the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. So much to talk about this morning, and taking your calls and your questions. If you have a comment or a question for Mark, phone lines are open for the entire show, 435-753-KVNU, or you can also call in on 435-752-KVNU. Either of those numbers will get you into the studio with a chance to talk to Mark and answer those questions about your garden, your lawn. Maybe you're still dealing with, I was getting in the garden and I've still got morning glory.
Oh, yeah. The weeds are popping up like crazy. These little rainstorms are wonderful because it makes your plants just take off.
Yeah.
Like, I had somebody in the store the other day, and they're just like, I was really struggling to get my grass seed to germinate. It just didn't germinate and just was barely coming up. And then we got that storm like a week and a half ago, and it's like, it took off like crazy. Then we got a little storm, a little bit last night, a little bit the night before. So these little storms are coming through, but man, it's just made the weeds take off like crazy as well too.
Yeah.
Got weeds everywhere.
But can't complain. We need those storms, if for anything else, to just keep the air clear, because this is one of the first mornings I can look out south of the studios and actually see the mountains again.
Yeah.
Because for several days you were starting to wonder, are they even still there?
It's been pretty hazy.
Yeah.
It's been worse down Salt Lake. We were down there on Thursday, and you could hardly see the mountains across the valley.
Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Really bad. So, phone lines are open, 753-5868 or 752-5868 if you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, as we're going to be talking about your lawns, your gardens. And let's start it off by talking about what's going to be going on at the store this weekend.
At Anderson's this weekend, we've got our cash sale continues. So all of our trees and shrubs and flowering trees and evergreens and flowering shrubs and fruit trees, they're all on sale, and they're all 25% off. And if you pay with cash, you get an additional 10% off on that. So you get up to 35% off. So you can get an extra 10 if you pay with cash. That's bills, green bills with presidents on them. That works great. Yeah, that works really well. Gets you an extra 10% off on all of our nursery stock. And we did bump the discount up on our perennials. And so the perennials we're doing for half price right now. And half price, that's just like cash or debit card or check or
Doesn't
credit
matter.
card, whatever on the perennials. Yeah, 50%
Okay.
off on the perennials. So we're trying to find nice homes for the perennials. So they're 50% off. And then we do have like an awesome clearance section right now. So we got a bunch of clearance items, a little bit of home decor, a little bit of outside decor, a little bit of different products here and there. And those are 50, 60, 70, 80% off on a bunch of that stuff. So we're just trying to move that out and make a little bit of space so we can start decorating for the holiday season. Yeah.
It's going to be here quick.
It's kind of crazy that we're sorting and organizing and getting that all ready. And, here it is, just the 11th of August.
Yeah.
So
high school football
10th of August
starts next week.
Already?
Yep.
Holy smoke.
High school football next Friday night.
That is crazy.
And then the schools will start the week after. So we're about a week and a half away from school starting.
That does make it feel a little bit more like fall and not so much like summer, doesn't it? Yeah.
Makes you wonder just where did the summer go?
It really does. Yeah.
It really flew by this year.
So we've got a new event on Center Street that we want to get the word out there is the Center Street Art Beat and Music Festival. And that will be the 24th of this month. So right after school starts for the county and Logan City school districts, but right before school starts for USU. And so the Center Street Art Beat Music Festival, there'll be music going on all day. I think it's going to start about noon and go until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And there'll be music at the Plaza. So Logan City is helping to sponsor this. So there'll be music going at the Plaza as well as a stage on Center Street. And there'll be a whole bunch of artists and there'll be like vendor booths and street art, all kinds of different things going on. So it should be a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So we're excited to see what happens. And then Latino Festival's coming up too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Talking with Carolina, who is the executive director of that. And it's already booked.
That's good.
It is packed. Food vendors, art, and all sorts of decor. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And then right after that, of course, is the Pumpkin
Giant
Festival.
Pumpkin Festival. Yeah. So in the next 2 months, we've got, it's not quite 2 months, but it's really close. We've got 3 really great events going on right there on Center Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some really fun stuff going on. So we are excited about it. Yeah. So,
all right, so phone lines are open again, 435-753-KVNU or 435-752-KVNU. And let's start off talking weeds because, I noticed morning glory really bad, a lot of thistle still kind of popping up here and there. And
puncture vine.
Yeah.
I got puncture vine. Every time I see one, I bend over and just make sure yank it out because they are just so aggressive. Just lots and lots of aggressive weeds this year. So I'm seeing a ton of purslane come up in my garden. I planted beans and a couple weeks ago, and the beans are coming up great. Unfortunately, one deer got into the garden and had a little feast on my beans, but they're starting to come back. But that storm the other 10 days, 2 weeks ago, just the weeds are popping up like crazy. So they're just everywhere in there. So I'm going to have to get a little bit serious on controlling the weeds in the vegetable garden. And I don't think I'll be spraying.
And and that's the thing is that when you get down into between the rows of beans, there's really not a whole lot you can do other than just put in the effort and pull them out.
Yes, ho.
Yep.
But use the right kind of hoe. It's not as much work, so that's really not too bad. But we're seeing purslane, we're seeing amaranth, we're seeing pigweed. We're seeing morning glory, like you said, and puncture vine, burr buttercup, just kind of coming up all over the place. So trying to keep those lovely weeds under control.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the lawn, weed-free zone is going to be your best option. Yeah, it's amazing. And we do have some cooler temperatures coming this week is what it looks like. So so low 90s or high 80s is what it looks like we're going to get. And when that is the case, we can actually spray for weeds.
Okay.
Yeah. So weed-free zone, we can use up to about 90 degrees, and it works on morning glory, and it works on thistles and mallow and clover and dandelions, puncture vine, burr buttercup. It works on all those noxious and awful weeds, purslane. It kills like crazy, and it works fast, and it works on the hardest to kill weeds. and you get really, really good coverage with it. So a pint of weed-free zone will cover 10,000, so it'll cover a quarter of an acre, and in some cases even more. So that would be a great option for in the turf. Mm-hmm. And if you're going into landscaped areas or into flower beds or even in your garden, you can got to be really, really careful because whatever you spray, it's going to kill. But I really, really like the Decimate, and the Decimate is topical, has to go on the green, a leafy part of the plant. It won't spread through the soil. It won't be picked up by the root system of a nearby plant. So you can actually be very strategic in your spraying, can be very surgical and precise, and just treat the areas that you want to kill the weeds in, and it won't bother the surrounding or the nearby plants if you're very careful. Don't spray when it's windy, of course. And if you need to, you can use a piece of cardboard or something for like a shield to keep it from drifting, and that works really well sometimes too. And boy, the Decimate will kill all kinds of weeds and grasses as well too. So that's one you can be very, very careful with and get into your garden, into your flower beds, into your shrub plantings, and just kill specific weeds in different locations. And it works quickly. Like if you sprayed this morning and we got a nice 92, 94 degree day, you would see the weeds dying by the end of the day.
Oh.
Yeah.
With using Decimate.
It works that fast. Yeah, the Decimate. And the Decimate works on broadleaf weeds better than, say, Roundup does or Kills All. And so it's a completely different formulation, different chemistry, and it does kill grasses, but it's great for morning glory. And it's really, really effective on a lot of those tough, hard-to-kill broadleaf weeds, and reacts very quickly. You'll see them dying in just a short amount of time.
Now, someone once told me, as I was complaining about the purslane in our garden, she said, well, you can eat that
it's
stuff.
Edible. Yeah, it is edible. Yeah.
It might be edible. There's a lot of things that might be edible, but the question is it really that edible?
Yeah, it is edible, and it's quite delicious if you harvest it first thing in the morning. And so what happens is throughout the day, as the sunlight hits the purslane, it creates what's called malic acid. And the malic acid makes it so it's kind of bitter. And so by the end of the day, it tastes bitter. But first thing in the morning, like, as soon as the sun comes up, you can go out there and you can harvest it. And it's much sweeter because the malic acid dissipates throughout the nighttime. But during the sun, and when the sun's up, it accumulates in the leaves and in the stems and stuff. But it's really tender. Our forefathers used it for greens, and it's very commonly used in gourmet salads and things like that. So even though it is a horrible weed and it spreads everywhere in your garden, it is edible, but it is better to eat it when it's
first thing in the
morning. You
gotta
get it right off the bat. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you were to harvest it and then put it in a baggie, rinse it and put it in a baggie and put it in a dark refrigerator, it would stay sweet. You could eat it later, but you don't want to harvest it in the late afternoon, early evening, because that's when it tastes the most bitter.
Yeah. Okay.
Bitter, so.
Maybe next time I'll try.
They were not pulling your leg. They were not pulling your leg. It is true. It is definitely edible, but it tastes better at certain times of the day.
Hey, and speaking of edible, we should mention too, we'll be coming into huckleberry season here pretty quick. I was up above Richards Hollow with a couple of friends last weekend, and there were a few wild raspberries that are coming on.
Yes, nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's that. It is that time of year. Yeah. So last night we were doing video shoots out in my garden. What a awesome Friday night activity.
Perfect weather for it.
Yeah. Well, we got rained on a little bit, so we did get a little bit of rain. But we were doing video shoots, and so we dug up some potatoes and showed how to dig the potatoes, and then I explained kind of how to store them and gave a little bit of information on the potatoes, and then we dug up some beets and we dug up some carrots. And then what do we do after the carrots? Onions. We pulled onions, and then we showed the tomatoes. My tomato plants, some of them are like almost 6 feet tall. They're just going crazy.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so we picked some Lemon Boy, and we picked a new tomato, which is called a Taste Master, and so tons and tons of cherry tomatoes are coming on, but all my regular tomatoes are starting to ripen up. So we picked some Optimax, which is a really nice Roma tomato as well too, and then. What did we do after the onions? Oh, we did the tomatoes, and then we did the onions, and then I showed off the giant pumpkins. Yeah, the giant pumpkins are Looking really good. Yeah. I wish they were about 300 pounds bigger, but,
Where are you at now? About 200 pounds?
No, about 350.
350?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we're about 350. So right now they're gaining probably 20 pounds a day is what it looks like. I haven't measured them for a couple days, but I'll bet they're somewhere between 300 and 350.
Now they're gaining about 20 pounds a day.
Yeah.
What's the diameter?
So
they just continue to put 2 to 3 inches on.
The last time I measured them, I think was Wednesday. So it's been 3 or 4 days, and the circumference was over 100 inches. Wow. Yeah, and over the top. So like from the ground on one side over the top to the other side was about 62 inches, and then from the stem to the blossom end over was about the same, about 62, 63 inches. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and a little bit more than 100 inches in circumference. So I've got 2 that are like really close to each other. So they're about 20 pounds apart.
And how's the health of the plants?
Plants are looking really good. I got a little bit of mildew got into one of my plants, but I sprayed it last week, and I think we got that under control. Probably need to spray them again. Okay. But I'm feeding them like every day and giving them good. I've got a drip system that runs through there, so it kind of saturates the whole area where the pumpkins are at. And that seems to be working really pretty well. Uh-huh. Yeah, for a late start, because I didn't get them set until just about a month ago. They're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pleased. I was hoping for the first time around, because this is like the very first time I've ever grown the giant pumpkins. I was hoping for 500 pounds. So I think we're gonna hit 500 and hopefully get a little bit bigger.
You're about there.
Yeah.
Well, and you brought up a good point, because it has been very humid for several days.
Yes, it has.
And that has really caused a lot of mildew and diseases to crop up. And so good way to be able to treat that if it's in your pumpkins, your squashes, melons.
Cucumbers. Get some cucumbers too. So we're seeing a lot of flowers, so a lot of perennial flowers. Our customers are bringing those in with powdery mildew, seeing a lot of maple trees with mildew on them, apple trees also. So we're starting to see a lot of that. And there's some really safe, effective ways to control the mildew. And when we get this monsoonal moisture, we start to get these thunderstorms that pop up. Humidity creeps up. We've still got hot days. It's definitely cooling down at night. So you can like really feel the difference. When the sun goes down, I was outside last night, and then I had to go turn the water off about 10:30 since I had the soaker hoses going in the garden, and you can really feel the temperature difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels much, much better. But it's perfect conditions for powdery mildew to take off. And if you let the mildew get into your squashes or your melons or your zucchinis or your pumpkins, it will gradually just sap the strength of the plants, and all of a sudden they're not producing very well, and the plants are dying back, and they're turning yellow, and they're not looking very good. And so you got to stay on top of the powdery mildew and hopefully prevent it before it gets started. Mm-hmm. And so all summer we've been kind of using the fungicide 5 from Fertilome, which is the same product as the complete disease control from Monterey. Super, super effective, very safe to use. It's a bacteria, but it's a beneficial bacteria instead of a bad bacteria. So it's a good bacteria, and it kills mildews, it kills leaf spots, it kills all kinds of different soil-borne diseases. It works on early and late blight on tomatoes and potatoes. It works on verticillium and fusarium, but it works better to prevent than to fix. So it cures in some cases. But right now I'm seeing a lot of samples of tomatoes coming in that customers are bringing in, and they've got late blight on them, or they've got verticillium. Saw 2 samples yesterday of verticillium, and they're like, well, what can I do? It's like, yank the plants out and get rid of them so it doesn't spread to your other plants.
Yeah.
And next year, we're going to start with
treated.
Yeah, we're going to start with the fungicide 5 early on as soon as you plant it, and prevent it from getting it in the first place, because once the plants have it, you can't really fix it. It's too late. And verticillium works. So what it does is it plugs up the arteries and the capillaries of the plant, so it can't move water and nutrient
can't circulate
through the plant. It can't circulate.
Okay.
It. Yeah. And so the plant's in soil that's got plenty of food for it. It's in soil that is plenty moist, so it can pick up the moisture, and the root system picks that up, and it starts to run it up through the stem, and it stops. And it can't push it any farther through the plant because all of its arteries are clogged up, so it's not circulating the water and the nutrient, and the plant just kind of starts to die back. It looks like it's not getting any water. It looks like it's not been fed at all. And once that happens, you can't go in there and surgically repair it. It's kind of done at that point. And so you yank the plant out so that the bugs don't like pick the disease up off of one plant and spread it to your other plants. So we need to like get rid of it. But then it's kind of stays in the soil indefinitely. And so if you use the fungicide 5 or the complete disease control from Monterey, you can stop the disease before it infects your plants because it's kind of present there in your garden afterwards. It's kind of there, it's kind of there for a while. But the mildew, absolutely want to stop that before it gets started. And the great thing about the fungicide 5 is that bacteria will eat the mildew off of your other plants. And so it really does a great job. So on the pumpkins, I'm doing a combination of a systemic fungicide and the fungicide 5. And that's working really, really well on the pumpkins. And then for my other edibles, for the zucchinis and the cucumbers and the melons, I'm just using the fungicide 5, and it's preventing the disease like completely. Yeah, it's done a really, really, really great job. So I'm excited.
One of the easiest ways to be able to recognize if your plants do start to get powdery mildew is the leaves. They just kind of almost take silver white. Yeah,
they turn white. Looks like somebody sprayed flour on your plants.
Sprinkled powdered sugar on it or something.
It's just like, mix up a little concoction of water and flour and just kind of just sprayed that on the plants. And it will start in just little spots. And then all of a sudden those little spots will take over the whole leaf. Yeah. And then it spreads to other little spots on other leaves, and then it takes over the whole leaf again. So much, much better to kind of monitor that and treat it in advance before it happens. And the way the weather is right now, you probably should just treat your plants preventatively, even if it doesn't have it right now, because it'll be showing up.
It could be showing up.
It'll be showing up. And we've seen a lot of it, lots of maple trees with it. And with the maple trees, we're using a systemic fungicide on that, so you don't have to spray every single leaf. It's a little bit more difficult to do. So F-Stop works great from Fertilome. The liquid systemic fungicide from Fertilome, also very effective. We've got a new one in stock that's called 3336 that is a really, really effective systemic fungicide that and the F-Stop, they're both, you can use it on edibles. So you can use it on fruits, and we use them regularly on fruit trees, and very, very effective, but very safe to use just even right up to the day of harvest. So really great products, but very safe for the consumer as well too. So yeah, really good stuff.
All right. So if you have a question about a disease or insects, we got to get to some insect questions we're going to be talking about here as well. But we can take your calls as well, 435-753-KVNU or 435-752. KVNU. One thing I found is if you don't prevent mildew, powdery mildew coming in, is it triple action from Fertilome?
Yeah.
If you can hit it as soon as you spot it, then a couple sprays of triple action will just knock it out.
The triple action does a great job.
But you got to make sure you catch it right when it comes on.
Yeah, early. The triple action has an insecticide and a fungicide in there, both. And so, and it's all natural. So the triple action is an organic product, and it has neem oil in it. And the neem does a pretty good job on the powdery mildew, but it's like you say, you got to get it like right when it starts.
If it takes over the plant, it's not going to do you any good at that point.
Yep. And that is also safe to use right up to the day of harvest, as well as the fungicide 5 from Fertilome also. So very, very effective and very, very safe for the consumer to use as well. So great products. And we've diseases are kind of showing up. Insects are popping up like crazy. We're seeing spider mites on beans, seeing spider mites on all kinds of other plants. Marigolds. Had somebody bring some marigolds in the other day, and they were just absolutely covered with spider mites. Just completely covered with spider mites. And so there's certain plants that they like to get into, and so we got to kind of watch for those as well too. Tobacco budworms have been very aggressive as well too, so we've seen a lot of those. Squash bugs are starting to kill people's plants, and of course the grasshoppers are everywhere, still going crazy. Yeah, and mosquitoes. We're really starting to see mosquitoes. You said
really came back in the last week.
Yeah, you said that they caught like some that had West Nile in Cache Valley as well.
Cache and over in Box Elder County last Friday. results came back. So, yeah, a lot of mosquitoes. And so we can talk insects coming up in the second half of the show and take your calls, 435-753-5868 or 752-5868 for the Garden Guide, and we'll be right back.
Walter, KBNU News. Local law enforcement have located a 14-year-old girl who had been missing and considered in danger. The girl had left home and was believed to be in Cache Valley. Friday morning, the Logan City Police Department reported Camila Valdez had been located and is safe. On Thursday, police had asked for the public's help in locating the girl. They reported that she had voluntarily left home and had not been seen since. Due to her young age and length of time missing, detectives were concerned for her safety. In Friday's update, police expressed appreciation for the public's help and concern for Valdez. Members of the Summit County Attorney's Office will remain on the high-profile case of Corey Richens after a judge denied a motion to have them removed. During a brief hearing Thursday, 3rd District Court Judge Richard Mazarik heard from both the prosecution as well as Richens' new defense team of public defenders, Wendy Lewis and Catherine Nestor. Richens' previous attorneys had filed the motion to disqualify the Summit County Attorney's Office as a whole, or prosecutor Brad Bloodworth specifically, claiming he had listened to attorney-client privileged communication. The motion also claimed that on March 26th, Summit County jail staff had read a notebook that Richens had tried to give to her previous attorney, Sky Lazaro. Lazaro and attorneys Ray Quinney and Nebeker PC were allowed to withdraw from the case earlier this year after claiming an irreconcilable and non-waivable situation. Slight chance of showers and thunderstorms Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, then just mostly sunny on Sunday, but smoky conditions, highs in the low 90s both Saturday and Sunday. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
I'm Alex Sobario. At 3:30 Eastern today, the U.S. men's basketball team will attempt to win their 5th straight gold medal at the Olympics as LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and company try to stay unbeaten in these Olympics as they face Victor Wembanyama and France in the gold medal game. Joel Embiid, who's been hearing boos from the French crowd all tournament, says that after a difficult semifinal game against Serbia, they need to have all the focus.
It's all about doing whatever it takes to win the goal. So that's what I'm focused on. It's all about Team USA against France. I know myself. I'm gonna interact myself, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna, they're gonna boo me. I'm gonna go back at them.
USA versus France at 3:30 Eastern. On Friday, the USA women's basketball team advanced to the gold medal game on Sunday. They'll also face France. They beat Australia 85-64 in the semifinals. Brianna Stewart led the Americans with 18 points in the win, the 60th straight Team USA victory in Olympic play. Stewart on NBA Today on the legacy of trying to win 8 straight gold medals.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it sounds like a lot of pressure is trying to put on us, but it's the standard with USA basketball, and everyone knows it from when you're with the junior national team all the way up to the national team. Like, the goal is gold, and really appreciating all the ones that came before us to kind of pave the way and to give us this opportunity and this platform. Women's basketball is at the best place it's ever been, and we want to continue to kind of uplift that and know that, we're representing our entire country, and we're going to make sure that we go after this next gold medal.
Brianna Stewart on NBA Today. The gold medal game will be Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. In NFL preseason action, Justin Fields made his Steelers debut, a 20-12 loss to the Texans on Friday. Fields sacked twice, fumbled twice, went 5 for 6 with 67 yards in the loss. Also on the preseason slate Friday, Eagles beat the Ravens on a game-ending 49-yard field goal from Jake Elliott to win 16-13. Michael Penix Jr. threw for 104 yards in his NFL debut as the Falcons lost to the Dolphins 20-13.
Have you heard about Willow Lakes? It's a new premier community being built along the Logan River. It will feature 2 lakes with sandy beaches, a 30,000 square foot fitness center, massage, sauna, hot, cold, and red light therapy, golf simulator, and a surf pool. This premier community is exclusively offered by Gray Wilson with Dwell Realty Group. And it's right here in Cache Valley. Come to the open house Saturday, August 10th from 10 to 1 at 1100 South, 1400 West in Logan. Learn more at willowlakesutah.com.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And we welcome you back to The Garden Guide on KVNU, 834 now, and 56 degrees outside. Really, finally enjoying some nicer temperatures.
Yeah.
Make for a little easier time to get out into the yard when it's not so hot.
Oh, yeah. This is when the plants really kind of start to respond, too, because you're getting those cooler temperatures at night. And so, it's hot during the day, but it's amazing how much growth you'll get out of them at night because the temperature is cooled down. It's not so hot, and they kind of take a deep breath and relax as well too.
I've noticed we were as I've mentioned a few times, we were about a month late in planting, and so corn was just starting to tassel this week.
Nice,
and reminded me that I need to get out and spray.
Yep.
So
corn earworm.
When your corn starts to tassel, you definitely want to spray it. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with the corn earworms.
Yep. Our corn is tasseled, and the ears are starting to really form and grow. We've got probably another week or 10 days, and our corn will be ready to pick. So it's ready to go. And I put my repellent down just this week. So I put a fresh batch of repellent out there to keep the grasshoppers out and to hopefully prevent the moths from coming in laying their eggs on the silks of the corn. But this is the time to do it. And there's some really great options for the corn as the silks are developing and the corn's really starting to mature. We'll use either BT, so like it's called Caterpillar Killer from Fertilome, but the BT was Bacillus thuringiensis, and it's a bacteria that kills caterpillars like crazy. And so as the moths come in, they'll lay their eggs right on the silks of the corn, and then as the eggs hatch, they'll follow the silks and they'll go right down into the corn and they'll eat the corn from the inside out. And so you've got to spray or treat or dust the silks so that you don't get the worms in your corn. And the BT does a great job. Spinosad does a really great job as well too. So the spinosad, also a beneficial bacteria, very effective on the earworms, but it works on the larval stages of all kinds of insects. So it works on Colorado potato beetles and Mexican bean beetles and anything that's in a larval stage. And it's the larvae that do all the damage. The adults do a little bit of damage, but it's the babies that do most of the damage. But any caterpillars works great on those. Cabbage loopers, the corn earworms for sure.
And is there a best time if you've got bees? Because I know when your corn does go to tassel, you're going to attract every bee in a 3-mile radius.
Crazy. That's the nice thing about the BT and also the spinosad is it's non-toxic for bees. And so it won't hurt your bees. But you still need to make sure and spray in the evening when the bees have gone home for the night, because the bees can pick up the bacteria, and even though it won't kill the adult bees, it can kill the larva.
Back in the hive.
So if they take it back to the hive, it could do a little bit of damage. So usually we'll recommend 8:30, 8:30, close to 9 o'clock when it's really starting to get dark. That's a great time to go out there and do some spraying, because that's when the moths are active. So you've got like a fresh application out there when the moths are active, and the caterpillars are gonna, when they hatch out, that'll be right there. The BT lasts about 5 to 7 days, and the spinosad lasts about 7 to 10 days. So you get a little bit longer residual out of the spinosad. It works on contact as well as by ingestion. And so it's very, very effective on the corn earworms and safe for your bees and your praying mantis. Won't bother praying mantis at all.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a really great option for using in the garden if you have a hive. And I know we have hives.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, doing really well this year. I've been impressed. I found that the less I bother the bees, the better they do. It seems like this year. Haven't really taken a whole lot of time to feed them. Right. Treated them for mites, but that was about it.
That's good.
And they're just. It's almost like they're like, hey, you know what? We know what we're doing. Just leave us alone.
Leave us alone. Let us do our thing.
Yeah. So going to be putting the super on this weekend and, see how they do this year.
That is great. That's great. I have kind of done the same thing with my hive. Less interaction, but still kind of monitoring and making sure everything's doing well in there. But I was out the other night moving water, and we've got some sunflowers that we kind of let grow around the garden, and they look really nice. Got lots of flowers on them, but there was a nest of wasps that had started to build a little nest in there, and so I was kind of walking in through the sunflowers to hook up the soaker hoses in the garden, and it was just about dark. I mean, it was like 9 o'clock. And all of a sudden, like, I felt this burning on the back of my neck, and I was like, "How the heck is that? Did I get into the sunflowers? Did I, scrape my neck on the sunflowers?" And then all of a sudden, on the other side of my neck, it started burning as well too. And then all of a sudden, I could feel like this electrical shock go down my arm. Yeah, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And I had like 5 or 6 welts on the back of my neck. So wasps and hornets are pretty aggressive this year as well too. So we've got some traps that work really well. So the Y traps and the yellow jacket traps, they work great, but we found that they work better if you put them away from the place where you're hanging out. So don't put them on your patio, don't put them on your deck or where you're going to be cooking and by the grill. Put them out in the yard somewhere else so we can attract them to that location. Then they'll get caught in there and they can't get out. And so the Y traps work on wasps, hornets, and yellow jackets. And then the yellow jacket traps work just on the yellow jackets. But boy, there's tons of them, and they're trying to make little nests all over the place.
Everywhere.
I killed some that were trying to build a big nest in my shed. And then we've got some that tried to build a nest in, like the eaves of the house. And they're just kind of cropping up all over the place. And we accidentally grilled some the other day because they started to build a nest in the grill.
Inside the grill box.
And it's like we'd used the grill just like 5 days earlier.
Yeah.
It's not like it's sitting there, not being used, but they're just coming in quick. Needless to say, grilled wasp, I don't think is the most delicious thing that's come off the grill.
No, but it is satisfying after they've bitten you in the corn patch.
Exactly. Yeah, that was just not very nice.
Now, another insect that seems to be a problem this time of year, earwigs and also spiders. Getting a lot of spiders.
The spiders kind of show up about the same time that the wasps and hornets do. And so we're seeing aggressive house spiders, and this is the time where they are out looking for mates. And so they've kind of matured, they're more adult, and they're looking for mates. And then once that happens, then they're going to try and find a place to hang out for the winter time. And so they're going to find a nice, cozy spot, probably in your house, in your window well, in your basement, somewhere where they're going to like be able to hang for the winter time. And so this is a really good time to put traps out. So generally around the first part of August, we're recommending that our customers start to put traps out. And the spider traps really do a great job at catching the spiders. And they work better when you catch a little something else in there as well, too. So, like, if you catch a few earwigs and you catch some ants and some other insects, centipede or millipede or whatever, then as the spiders come by, then the spiders see that there is a free lunch available as well. And so they'll come in and they'll get stuck on the trap looking to consume the earwigs and the other critters that are on there. And once you start to collect a few insects on there, it attracts more. And so they've got a natural bait on there, a pheromone type bait that will attract the spiders in. But once you start catching things on there, then all of a sudden it attracts more, and then it's more effective. So you're better off leaving it when you catch a few things on there instead of like completely replacing it immediately. Usually we'll leave them out for 30 or 40 days and see what we catch. And if we're not catching a whole lot on the spider traps, then we know our spray is being effective. But if we start catching a whole bunch of stuff on the spider traps, then we know that the spray is starting to dissipate, and it's time to probably do another spray. And if that's the case for the spiders and the earwigs and the ants and all the critters that really want to come in during the winter time, the best option is called seismic. And the seismic comes in a concentrate. And we've got the Psychic, which comes in a ready-to-use aerosol. It's very effective. But these are microencapsulated insecticides, and those microencapsulated insecticides will give you a really long duration. So we were talking 2, 3, sometimes even 4 months is how long they will last. And then any insect that crawls through that insecticide that you've sprayed, it adheres to their legs or their feet or whatever you want to call it, the little pincers, and then they'll be it'll take care of them. It'll kill them. So very, very effective, but very safe for people inside as well too. So it's labeled for use in hospitals and restaurants and food preparation areas and assisted living centers. It's a very, very safe product once it dries, but you'll get that 3 or 4 month residual on insects that crawl through it. And as they crawl through it, they get the insecticide on them, and it takes care of them. So super effective for the spiders, aggressive house spiders, black widows, brown recluse, any of those that are trying to find a place to set up shop for fall and winter. It'll do a really good job on those.
All right. Let's go out to the phones. We have Gordon joining us on the line. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good to talk to you, gentlemen.
Hey, Gordon.
Got a question. We seem to have a number of the big pine trees in Newton that we are losing, including part of my son's that next door that it's the top section is going brown, and our neighbor right across the street from that have lost an entire tree. Is bark beetle something that will kind of spread through a town if somebody's got it?
It can. And I had someone bring a sample in the other day, and they actually did have bark beetles in their trees, but it's not always the case. And so it could be bark beetles, could be pine beetles. It could be stress from the last couple of years where we had a lot of drought before we got some wet season. Yeah. And if it is bark beetles, we can control those. And if we get those under control, the tree can actually heal itself and create new circulatory system. But what they do is they get just underneath the bark, and they will damage the cambium of the tree, which is the location where all the water and nutrient flows up through the tree. And so when they damage that part of the tree, it prevents the water and nutrient from flowing up through the top. And so then the top kind of starts to die back. But usually it's very indicative of having bark beetles if like one branch dies off here and one branch dies off there, and it's usually up towards the top of the tree. And then you can start looking at other spots. You'll see wounds in the tree where there's like sap that pours out. And if you cut a tree down, you can really see that there's been some tunneling underneath the bark of the trees that have been infected with the bark beetles. So
my son said that when it's really quiet that he can actually hear them.
Nibbling. Yeah, it's possible. If that's the case and you do have the bark beetles, then we would want to use a systemic insecticide on them, like Dominion or the tree and shrub drench from Fertilome, and drench the trees with it. So instead of just doing your trees for aphids in the springtime, if you're going to drench your maples or your lindens, because they tend to get aphids first thing in the spring. The bark beetles, we would treat your pines the same way. And I would probably even recommend you do it right now, because if you do it right now, it'll start working up through the tree, and it'll last the rest of this year, and it'll probably last through the first couple of months of next spring. And then do it again the end of March, first part of April, and then it will last throughout the entire summer. And if we can get them under control inside your tree, and the Dominion is labeled for that particular insect, if we can get them under control, then your tree will heal. It'll repair itself. You might still have to get in there and prune some of the branches out, but it'll put out all new growth, and that will really help.
Okay, that was my question. Was that we typically do a drench around the box elder in the spring, and I didn't know if we were so late that it wouldn't be effective. Now, should we cut out some of the portions up in the upper part that are really bad?
I would. I think that would be a great idea. And then go ahead and use the Dominion or the tree and shrub drench on it right now. And then next spring, let's do it again and give it a little bit of a fertilizer as well too. So the kangaroos to encourage some root development, a nice balanced fertilizer like the Tree Feast from Bicor would be excellent. You can mix those two together and then just saturate the root ball with that first thing in the spring. That would be very effective, Gordon.
It's definitely been feast and famine out here with water.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say the dam's probably full this year.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of water in the dam, but I think, like you say, that it could be kind of cumulative from the last several years.
Yes,
where it's been so dry. So,
yep.
All right,
very possible.
We will do that. I wish I'd known. I would have swung in yesterday while I was in town. We'll be back on Monday.
Wonderful. Thanks, Gordon.
All right, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yep, you too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Phone lines open, 435-753-5868 or 435-752-5868. Bark beetle is something we have an old family cabin that was up in the foothills above Boise.
Yeah.
And they have had bark beetles so bad up there, it has killed acres of trees.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and within a couple years just level an entire forest.
Yeah, they can do a lot of damage. Especially where you've got like similar trees all the way through. So it's like if you have diversity of species, then it doesn't bother quite as much. But if they're all the same tree, then you get an insect or a disease in there, and it can really cause a lot of damage. Yeah,
so
cause a lot of damage.
Best to get on it early because they don't go away.
No.
It's like you put food out in front of me, I'm not going to go anywhere because that's where the food is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
So,
and they definitely like to eat. That's for sure.
435-753-5868 or 435-752-5868 for the Garden Guide here on KVNU. Still 10 minutes left and plenty of time to take more of your calls.
We'll remind everybody that the cash sale is going on at Anderson's right now. So cash sale, if you come in and you spend and you purchase some trees or some flowering trees or some shrubs or some evergreens, 25% off. If you pay with cash, you get an extra 10% off, so it makes it 35% off. So you can get extra 10% discount if you pay with cash on our remaining nursery stock. So there's some good-looking stuff out there still. So some really, really nice trees. I've got some beautiful new shrubs and evergreens in stock, and everything's looking really good. We've got the shade cloth all set up, and so the plants look really nice, and we've been very careful to take care of those throughout the summer. And a good selection of fruit trees still.
Okay.
Yeah, good selection of fruit trees. And then our clearance section, got some great clearance items in there, 50, 60, 70, 80% off on home decor, outdoor decor, a lot of different products that we're kind of discontinuing and moving on from. And so you can get some really good deals on those. And then don't forget about the Center Street Art Beat and Music Festival. Yeah, it's coming up in 2 weeks. Wow, 2 weeks, 24th of August. So it's coming up. Music at the Plaza. There'll be different music on a stage on Center Street as well too. Vendors, artists, street art, all kinds of fun things.
Shutting down Center Street again from Main to First West.
First West, yep. So Center Street will be closed, but there'll be different performances going on Center Street compared to different performances going on at the Plaza. And it starts at noon and it goes all the way until 9 or 10 o'clock. And there'll be different acts throughout the day. Yeah.
Food vendors and just a fun
should be a lot of fun
family event.
Kind of a good way to kick off the start of the school year. We're hoping we get a lot of students to come, and the community can come and participate as well too. And a great way to kind of celebrate school starting up again and welcome the students back and kind of rub shoulders together.
Be fun.
Yeah, have a good time. Have a good time together. So, but we need some more callers.
Yeah,
we only had Gordon call today. And we're almost in our new studio.
Yes.
So close.
I was telling you earlier, we are penciling in next week to move everything over. The new studio's done. We just have to finish putting a few of the programming.
Not to use a pun, but we got to dial it in.
That's right. Exactly.
Got to get
right.
it dialed in so you can dial us up right now. We'll answer some questions.
I was joking with our engineers this week that they put the TV in on Thursday, and I said, "Well, that's the most important part because we have to make sure we got the TV plugged in and ready to go." It's been quite a project, and we've got quite a team that has been working on it, and looking forward to finishing off and moving in and settling back into home.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I've got a lot of people coming in, and they are excited about planting grass. So even though it's been really hot, do not stress the heat. This is a great time to plant grass. And so planting turf right now, best time of year. And really, you want to prepare the area, get the soil raked and groomed and leveled, and get that all prepped before you plant. And then our customers that are planting, they're doing different blends of grasses. So like our Colorado Premium is a blend of bluegrasses mixed with some turf type rye, and that's looking really, really nice. We're selling a lot of Mark's Mix, which is a mix of turf type rye and turf type fescues, and then our ultra drought tolerant grass, the Eden, has some really drought tolerant bluegrasses, and then a dwarf tall fescue in there, and they look really, really nice. But the grass is germinating very quickly right now. We're 7 days, 10 days at the most. You've got grass popping up all over the place. The key is to make sure as you rake it to roll it so that it just barely covers the grass up just a little bit, and then you want to do a little bit of moisture, 5 minutes to 10 minutes, 3 times a day, just to keep that little bit of moisture out there. And all of a sudden, you've got grass popping up all over the place. So really, really great time to plant grass. We've got some sprays that you can put on there to help the grass germinate and hold the moisture a little bit longer. Like the Hydrotain would be great. You can apply that as a liquid or a granule. We've got some great fertilizers and different soil conditioners to help the grass take off as you get that planted as well too. So great time for planting new turf and rejuvenating some older lawns as well.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
All right. Well, Terry's joining us on the line. Terry, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you?
Speaking of grass, I believe I have crabgrass. It's flat. It's thick. It's spread.
It lays really low to the ground.
Yes. What do I treat that with?
So there
do I dig it?
Yeah, there is a spray that will actually kill crabgrass very, very well and fairly quickly. And so the one that we carry is called Weed Out with Crabgrass Control. And the active ingredient in there that kills crabgrass is called quinclorac. And the quinclorac will kill weedy grasses without damaging your turf. So it'll kill crabgrass and foxtail and goosegrass and Dallas grass. And these are all annual weedy grasses, and so you can spray it right over your lawn. It will kill dandelions, it will kill clover, but it'll also kill crabgrass. So if you really think you've got crabgrass, it's one that would be very effective. And with our cooler temperatures the next week, it would be perfect time to spray. You can use it up to 90, 95 degrees, and it will be very effective for you.
Okay, I'll do that. Now my geraniums.
Yes.
What is eating my buds?
Tobacco budworms love petunias and geraniums. Yeah, and they will eat the flowers before they even open up. So your plants look great, and there's not a single flower on them.
Right, and I don't even know what I'm mad at. But I am serious.
Yes, and so
is it Spinosa? What do I do?
The Spinosa would work great. Yep, so the Spinosa works great. We have to treat all the flowers on Center Street for tobacco budworms. And on Main Street as well, too, because if we don't, all of a sudden they just stop blooming. And so we've been using Sayonara, and the Sayonara is great. The 7 works really well. Yeah, if you want to use an organic version, either the Caterpillar Killer or the Spinosad really does a great job also. So both of those would be very, very effective. So you have lots of options. Just don't use a systemic because it doesn't work on them. So
okay, do I apply it under the leaves? I mean, my foliage is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I have no flowers.
Yep.
So do I apply it under the plant, my flowers, or on the top, on the leaves?
The answer is yes. Both. Yeah.
To both.
Yeah. So spray the leaves, spray the stems, spray the flowers, and if they come in contact with the Spinosad or the Sayonara or the 7, it'll kill them. With the BT, they have to eat it, and so then you'd want to spray the blossoms. But they'll eat the leaves as well too. So they eat the leaves, they eat the flowers, they eat the blossoms before they open up.
Okay. The other evening, as I was watering them, I had some moths coming out. Are they cottle moths? Will that take care of them too?
So the moths that lay their eggs, that are the tobacco budworms, they look like hummingbirds. Their wings beat very, very quickly, and they have long snouts on them, and they'll like pull nectar out of the flowers. And so then they lay their eggs on the geraniums and the petunias, and then the caterpillars munch them, and then they turn into moths. So that's probably what it is.
So those three products will kill those two.
Yep, it'll get all of those.
Okay.
And codling moth are more going to be on your fruit trees, so they're on apples and pears. They're not going to really bother your flowers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is a different critter.
How often do I apply this? Weekly?
We do every 10 to 14 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate your knowledge. I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great weekend, Terry.
You too. Bye.
Yep, see ya.
Well, we've got about a minute left. We want to mention that, again, if you missed earlier, cash and carry sale happening right now.
25% off all of our remaining trees, fruit trees, flowering trees, shade trees, evergreens, shrubs, flowering shrubs. And we've got some small fruits that are on sale as well, too. Vines. They're all 25% off. And then if you pay with cash, you get an extra 10%. But then in addition to that, we've got our perennials on sale, and they are 50% off whether you pay with cash or not. So the really good deal on the perennials. We're just trying to find homes for those before the weather starts to really change.
Okay.
And some clearance going on at Anderson's as well, too. We're trying to kind of make room for the next busy season. So, yeah.
Yes.
We won't mention which
Not
season
exactly
that
looking
is.
forward to
we
it
won't
yet,
mention.
but it's going to be coming before we know
I'm
it.
really, really excited, though, because we've got some new color-changing lights that we have been working on with a
Very
manufacturer in China, and they will produce all kinds of different
All
colors
right.
and all kinds of different like color combinations. And, they're amazing.
Very cool.
Amazing.
Well, thanks for joining us on the show here on KVNU Logan, Watchdog on Wall Street.